Good morning, everyone. Am I audible to you all? Just put it in the chat window if everything is good. Are you able to see me, or is there an issue with the audio or video? Just put it in the chat window. Great. So I can see a few comments. Yes. Okay, so let's just wait for a minute or two and then we will start with our today's session. So, how many of you are new students or they have just joined for the today's session? They have not yet watched the previous sessions? Just write yes in the chat window. Okay. Good morning, Rahul. Good morning. Or if you are finding any issue with the previous sessions, just put it in the chat window. Or if you have any kind of feedback that you wanted to share, you can just put it in the chat window. Manasa is saying there is some echo. Is the echo is there for everyone, or just Manasa is facing this issue? Okay, others also facing this issue? Echo. Okay, let me see the settings. Okay, how's it now? Is it better? Yeah, okay. Can we take more interview questions? Okay, Rahul will try to cover few interview questions. But these sessions are basically I'm working for as a part of our community program, so won't be able to include everything over here. These sessions are going to cover the basic, but in basic also you will get to know more about Python that you might not be aware of. So echo is still there. Why we have echo? Now, sir, explain about pattern printing program. Surely we will try to cover this pattern printing programs. Okay, so let me share my screen. All right, let's open the Jupyter notebook. I will name it Let's connect it. I'll name it as day 5 underscore Python. Okay. So today we will talk about lists in Python. Okay, this is very important concept or very important object in Python, list, which I personally use almost every day. Whenever I start writing Python program, somewhere I encountered list, or somewhere my program will require list to use. Okay, so lists are very important. So let's see what exactly the list is. So list is nothing but it's a, you can say it's a bucket that store different elements. So here you can see that this is my list. List start with a square brackets. Okay, so this is my list. If I try to see whether this is a list or not, what I can do is I can simply write type of my list, and here you will see that it is printing list. That means this whatever we have created over here, it's a list. Let's try to print it. So now you can see that this is my list that contains 5 element, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And this list contains numbers, basically 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 integers. But let's say I have a list like this. Now you can see that I have created the list that contains string. If I print it, you will see that I have Saurabh, Deepak and Ram. So this is a list that contains the strings. What about this? What about this? Can we write a list like this? So if you are from any other programming background, maybe C++ or Java, if you try to do something like this, like in C or C++ or in Java we have arrays, similarly we have list over here in Python. But in list, if you try to do something like that, if you try to have a string and numbers in the same list in other programming languages, it will generate an error. But in Python, you can have a list that may contain any different data types. So here this list is basically a heterogeneous list. So if I try to print it, this works fine. It is not going to give you any kind of an error. This is one of the biggest advantage of list. You can have an element that will be of different data types. So here this is a string data type and this is an integer data type, and still we can have both the data types in just one list. Now you can have a empty list also. So if I write something like this also works fine. It will not generate an error. That means it is not mandatory that you should have a element in your list. So you can just have a list, or you can say a blank list. It will work perfectly. But how this list is organized? So if I write something like this, 10, 20, 30, 50, and let's say 80. If I have list like this, what happens behind the scenes? Okay, so let's see how it works. So as I said, list is just like an array in any other programming language. So here, why my this is not working? Okay. So what I did, I created a list that contains, or I will say, I have a list that contains 10, 20, 30, 50, and 80. So this is my list. Inside the memory or in your RAM, what happens is it will allocate a contiguous block of memory like this, and here I will have 10, 20, 30, 50, and 80. and these numbers have indexes. Okay, so this is my list, and this list have indexes. So it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Okay, so if you wanted to access something, you can just specify the index position. So let's say from this list I want to print 30. So here you can see that the list, in this list 30 is there on the third position, but it's not there on the third position. If you start from 0, it's on the second position. So 10 is at 0th position, 20 is at first position, 30 is at second position, 50 is at third position, and 80 is at fourth position. So if I wanted to print 30, what I have to do is I have to write LST, and here I will write 2. Here you can see that I have printed 30. So that means if you want to access an element of a list, what you have to specify, you have to specify the index position. So what is the index? Index basically starts from the 0. So the first element of a list is at 0th position, and similarly second is at first position, third is at second position. Like this it organizes. Now let's say I have list that contains this. And you have to tell me what this list will print. Write in the chat window what will be the output of this list. So if I run it, you will see that it is printing C. Why? Because C is at the second position starting from 0. Similarly, if I write 5, tell me the output. So the output is 5. That is the last element of this index, this list. So starting from A, B, C, D, E, F, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you print list 5, it will give you F, which is the last element of my list. But what about this? If I write something like this, what will happen? Write your answer in the chat window. What will happen if I specify list minus 1? So if I run it, you will be surprised that it is going to print you F, which is the last element. So let's see what is happening over here. So this is my list that contains A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, so this is my 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now Python gives you facility to access the elements using negative numbers also. So it has, this is the indexing. In the same way, you have indexing from the right side. So this is minus 1, this is minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6. So if you write index minus 1, it will give you the last element of your list. So that means you can have positive indexes, you can have negative indexes. That means if you start from the right side or from the end of your list, it can be accessed using minus 1. Okay, so here if I run it, you will see that it is printing UF. Why? Because in this list, F is at 5th position and is at minus 1 position. That means you can access F using both these two indexes, either with 5 or minus 1. What about this D? Let's see. If I write print, LST and also if I print LST minus 3, let's see what will happen. You will see that in both the cases it is printing D, because D is at third position from left side, and from the right side it is at minus 3 position, right? So this is called negative indexing. Through that also you can access the list elements. So a lot of time it is important. So let's say I want to access the second last element. If you are working in C++, Java, what you have to do, you have to run a loop to access to that particular second last element. But Python gives you this facility that you can directly access it using this negative indexes. So this is beauty of Python. Next thing is, let's say I have my list something like this. I have Saurabh and I have, if you look over here, this is my list, and in this list you can see that I have Saurabh and I have this list over here, and this list contains the numbers. So if I run it, you will see that here I have a green tick. That means there is no error in this list. So what is happening behind the scene? Or let's say I want to access this whole list. How can I access it? So let me copy it. So this is my list, and this list contains two elements. What are those two elements? So the two elements is, this is the first element, and second element is, second element is my list. So this can be accessed using 0, and this can be accessed using 1. Okay, so if I write print lst1, you will see that it is giving you the whole list. And if I write print lst0, this will give you the whole Saurabh. That means this whole list is the second element, and this Saurabh is the first element. Now let's say I want to access 30. How can I access it? So if you look over here, this is also a list. That means it also have an index, but it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I have to do to reach out to this, this element, what I have to do, first I have to go to this list, and from this list I have to go to here, 30. So how I can do that? So for that, first I will go to the list which is at first position, and inside this list I want to access to 30. So the index of the 30 within a list is 2. So 1, 2 will give you the 30. So let's see, print lst1. If you see that, it is giving me 30. Let's say you want to access 40, just quickly write what I have to write here. If I want to access 50, just quickly write in the chat window what I have to do if I want to access 50 from this list. That list contains Saurabh and the whole list. Just quickly write. What if I want to access this 50? Just quickly write. 1, 4. Just quickly write what I have to do if I want to print this 50 element. Just quickly put it in the chat window. 1, 4, 1, 4, 1 minus 1. Quickly write how can I access this 50 element. So first we have to reach out to lst1 because I want to access this, and then I can print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can print 4. I run it, you will see that it is outputting to 50. In the same way, I can write minus 1 also over here. So both the ways you can write it. But What about if I want to access, you from Saurabh? What I have to write? So in this case, you can see that I want to access something from Saurabh. So I have to first go to the Saurabh, and then I have to go to the, because I want u. So u is at 0, 1, 2, second position. I will write 2. This time it is printing u. Why? Because I'm first referring to Saurabh, this whole list, and this 2012 over here. That means you can say that string is also a list of characters. So you can access a string using the indexes also. So that means I can redraw it. This is also a list, and this list contains character like this, and I can access it using indexes like this. So let's say you want to access B. How can I access B? So I want to access this B. How can I access it? Just quickly put it in the chat window. If I want to access B, what should be my index positions? So B can be accessed simply by writing print lst 0, and here you can write s 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is B. So 0, 5. Let's say I have a list like that. Let's say I have a list like that: 20, 30, 40, 50, and I want to write something like this: LST 3.0. What will happen? So what you have to do is, you have got a list, and I am accessing it using the negative indexes. Okay, I'm not visible. What happened? Let me see. Okay, so can you guys see my screen now? There's some technical glitch at my end. Is it visible now? Can you see it? Okay, great. So I think I lost my Google Colab as well. Okay, so where we were, sorry for the glitch. Okay, so we were talking about this. So we have got a list over here that contains 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and I'm trying to access the list using 3.0. What will happen if I do that? Here you will see that it is giving you an error. That means it says it's a type error, and the error is list indices must be integer or slices, not float. Okay, so that means you cannot access a list element using the decimal values or float values. Okay, so this will give you an error. Now enter your list elements. So what I am doing, I am asking the user to enter the list element, and then I am using the list, or I am storing that into my list variable. So if I run it, and here let's say I give it like this: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and if I run it, you will see that there is no error. And if I print lst, you will see that it is printing this also. And if I print type of my list like this, you will see that it is giving you, it is considering this list as a string, not as a list. Okay, so how we can do that? How can a user should enter like this and it will display it, or it will consider it as a list? So in this case, what you have to do is you have to use eval over here. So there's a function called eval, and if I write like this and if I execute it, now this time again I'm going to give the same input: 20 space 10 space 20 space 30 space 40 space 50, and if I run it, you will see that this is giving you an error. Let's run it again, and this time I will use square brackets also. So 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50. No error. Let's print the list, print the type of the list. You can see that this time it is giving you a list class, or the type of my list object is a list, right? So that means you can input a list using the input function. But the point to remember over here is that while inserting, you have to give it as just like a list, where you have a square brackets, you have comma. So now if I do this again, it will print the list and it will give you type. So this is also important. Like, a lot of people never use this, but this is also one approach. If you wanted to, if you want your user to enter a list just like a list, that also possible. But for that, what you have to do, you have to convert this in string into a list using the eval function. Now let's say I have a list like this, and inside this I am going to write range 0, 5, comma 1. So in the last session we talked about this range function. Okay, now I'm using this as range inside the list. Let's try to run it. If you see that there is no error, that means you can write list like this. So let's try to print it. If you print it, you will see that instead of giving you 0 comma 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, it is giving you something like that output, right? But our expected output should be 0 1 2 3 4, right? So how we can do that? So to do that, what you have to write, you have to write something like this, strict. And now if I print it, you will see that it is giving you 0 1 2 3 4. Now what is happening over here? This is called packaged list or packed list, and this is called unpacked list. So in the list, what you can do is you can specify the list using this range function. So here you can see that I have a range function, and what this range function do, it basically gives you a numbers starting from this starting number, which is 0, up to this number minus 1. Okay, so 0 1 2 3, this range function will give you 0 1 2 and 3 values, 3 and 4 values, and those values will be a part of your list. But when it will come, when you write asterisk before the range function. So that means this is a packed list and this is a unpacked list, right? So this is just for the knowledge purpose. Lot of time if you download a code from somewhere, there you may find these kind of code written in this kind of formats, and you will get confused. So you should have a knowledge of what is packed list and what is unpacked list over here. Now let's say hmm, I have sentence that says hello, welcome to Azure Lab. I have one sentence which is like this: hello, comma, welcome to Azure Lab. What the I want basically the words from this whole sentence. So what I can do is I can have a list, and here I can write sentence dot split, and I can mention white space over here. And if I print this list, you will see that now I have got a words as a list. So if you look over here, here in this sentence I have white space over here, white space over here, white space over here. And what I did, I tried to split this whole sentence using this white space. So here I have given this white space. That means this function will look for all the white space in the sentence, and it will break it down whenever it finds out the white space. So first it will give you this word over here, then it will give you welcome, then it will give you two, then it will give you Azure, and it will give you as a list. So if I try to see the type of my list here, you will see that it is giving you type as a list. That means you can split a string. This function is also very important. I personally use it very frequently whenever I get a response from the APIs or from some other server. What I do is I basically split it in using this space. So this is a split function. Now let's say I have something like this. So in this I don't have any spaces in this sentence, but these words are separated by comma. Okay, so if I try to do something like this, sentence dot split, and here if I specify one space, and if I print this list like this, you will see that I am just getting one element. So how I can say that? Because if you look at these comma, they are in the whole string. So this is just giving you one element. I don't want it. I want 1 2 3 4 elements. So for that, what I have to do is I have to use I have to split this whole sentence on the basis of comma. So if I run it, this time you will see that I have got four elements: hello, welcome to Azure. Okay, and how I'm able to do it? Because I have to separate this time, I have to break this sentence on the basis of comma over here. So this is how you can use split on a string and you will get a list. Let's say I have list like this, and this time what I did is I write something like this. So what I did is I have got this list A, B, C, D, E, F, and while printing, instead of just specifying a one number or a one index position, I am writing 2 colon 5. What will happen? So this is called slicing in Python or slicing of list. So what it will give you? It will give you all the elements starting from 2 and ending at 4, not 5. Okay, so let's try to run it. You will see that it is giving you C, D, and E. So if I copy this over here, so if you look here, the index position is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I am writing, I am slicing it on the basis of 2 colon 5. That means this is going to cover list 2, list 3, list 4, but it is not going to cover list 5. So this will not be considered. So here list 2, what we have C over here, and in list 3 I have D over here, and I have E over here at list 4. So this is going to print you C, D, and E, right? It will not give you F, though here we have specified 5, so it will go 5 minus 1, which is 4. So it is going to cover 2 comma 3 comma 4 index positions. So here you will see that C, D, E, it is printing. This is called slicing. Now, what if I write something like this? Here, so what I did, I have not specified any number over here. If I run it, you will see that it is printing all the elements starting from the second position. So what is that second position? So I have A at 0th position, B at first position, and C at second position. So it is printing C, D, E, F. That means all the elements in a list are from this second position. So why? Because I have not specified anything. So anything over here, that means all till the last element. So what is it at the last element? I have got F over here. So you can write something like this. What if I write this? Okay, just quickly type in the chat window what will be the output of this. If I specified A comma B comma C comma D comma E comma F, and in the print statement I am not specifying neither the starting position nor the end position. So this list just contains column. What will happen? Right in the chat window. So if you run it, you will find that it is printing all the elements. Yes, so this is going to print you all the elements starting from A to F. But what if I write 2 colon 7 colon 2? So I have got 2 colon 7 colon 2. If I run it, So here you will see that I have starting position, end position, and I have step also, right? So it starts from 2. Let's try to see it. Okay. So here what we are trying to do, we are trying to get the elements using this expression 2 colon 7 colon 2. So this is our starting position, and this is the end position minus 1, and this is the step. So here it starts with 0. It will now from 0 it will step to 2. So 0 plus 2 will give you 2, and then 2 plus 2 will give you 4, then 2 plus 2 will give you 6, right? But it will not go after that. Why? Because the end position is 6 only over here, right? So this will print you what is we have at the zeros position: A, then we have C, then we have E. That's it, and we do not have 6 over here, so it will print only ACE. Sorry, C and E. So 2 is at C is at second position, and E is at fourth position, and we do not have any element at the sixth position, so that is why it is printing C and E only. What if I print something like this? 5. Just quickly write in the chat window what it will print. So here you can see that it starts with 2, so it will consider second element, and then it will consider fourth element, and then it will consider 6. No, it will not consider 6 because the end position is 5, so it will go up to 4 only. So if I try to print it, you will see that it is printing C and E only. Let's say I have list over here that contains 1 comma 2 comma 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10, and if I try to print lst 4 colon colon 2, now what will happen in this case? So what I am writing, I have a list, and this time I am not giving the end position, I'm just giving the starting position and the step number. What will happen? So if I print it, you will see that it is giving 5 7 and 9. So what we have at the fourth position, so indexes are like this: 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 over here, and we started with 5. So what we have at 5, at 5 fifth position, so 0 1 2 3 4. So this is my fourth position, which is 5, and then 5 4 plus 2, this will give you 6. So what we have at the sixth position, we have got 7 at the sixth position, then from 6 plus 2, this will give you 8, and what we have at the eighth position, we have 9 number at the eighth position, and it will stop over here itself. So if you do not specify end position, it will try to go till the end position. Now tell me, what will this result into? 3 colon 7. Just quickly write in the chat window what will be the output of this 3 colon 7. So if I run it, you will see that it is going to consider 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 index position, and at these index position we have 4, 5, 6, 7 elements. But what if I write something like this? Now tell me what will be the output of this expression where I'm trying to access list 8 colon 2 colon minus 2. What will happen? So this time it will pick from the back position. So we will have 8, then we have 6, then we have 4, then we have, so these are the positions. It will have 8 comma 6 comma 4, like this, and it will not consider 2. So at these position, if you look, we have 9 at we have 9 at 8th position, and 7 at 6th position, and 5 at 4th position. Now what about this? If I write something like this, just quickly write in the chat window what will happen if I have a list like this and I'm trying to print 3 colon 1000. We do not have 1000 numbers in our list. We just have 10 numbers in our list, and we are trying to go till 1000. What will happen? In other programming languages it will give you an error, but in Python it will not give you an error. It will just go to the max element or the last element if if this number is exceeding the available number of elements. So here I have 10 elements, and this 1000 is more than 10. That means it will go up to max number of elements, and in this case I have max number of element, or the max index position is 9 only. So it will go up to 9. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it will go up to the ninth index position only. It will not give you any kind of error. What if I write something like this? Here you see that I am specifying negative starting position. So what will happen? Just quickly write in the chat window. This is very interesting question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 I have, and I am trying to print something like this, minus 500 colon this. What will happen? Just write quickly in the chat window what will happen to this. So here you will see that so what I have 10 numbers in my list, and the indexes are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Similarly, the indexes, negative indexes are minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, minus 9, and minus 10. After that, we do not have anything. But we are trying to access list minus 500 column. That means it will start from this 10, because we do not have minus 11, minus 12 over here. So it will start from minus 10 only, and it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why? Because here we do not have any end position, right? So it will pick the minimum number here if you specify anything negative more than the number we have. So if you print over here, you will see that it is printing the whole list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why? Because the last number that we have is at minus 10 position, and after that we do not have any number. Okay. Let's see the ID of this number. I want to see the address of this list. You will see that this is the address of my list. You know that ID function will give you the address or the location of your list. And what if I do, I'm going to change this list, let's say second number to 30. You will see that here earlier my address was this and my element numbers are this, and this time, and what I did next, I updated my list. I have changed this 3 to 30, and my address will remain same. So if you update something in a list, your new list will not be created. The changes will be reflected in the same list. This feature is called list are mutable. List mutability. That means your list, if you change anything in a list, new list will not be created, the same list will be updated. And how we can prove it? By looking at these addresses. So initially I have this original list, I change this value 3 to 30, and still my address remains same. Now, how you can run a loop for the list? Okay, so one, let's say I have list equals to 1 or 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, like this, and I want to iterate over. How I can do that? One thing that I can do is I can write a loop, that is while loop. So I'm going to have a while I equals to 0, and here I will write I less than. So how many elements I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I less than 9, print lst I, and if I run it, you will see that I have not incremented it. So what I am going to do, I will write I equals to I plus 1. If I run it, you will see that it is printing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So it is running a loop and iterating over each element. But what if I have thousands or hundreds of elements? In this case, what you have to do, you have to use len function. So what I am going to do, because here I know that I have nine elements in my list. What if I don't know? What if I don't know the number of elements in my list? So in this case, what I am going to do, I will just write len. This will give you the length of your list. So if I just print len lst, and if I run it, so you can see that this is giving you length of 9, and then it is running 9 times, and it is printing 120, 30 up to 90. So this is one way of writing it. But can there be more, or a good approach of printing it? That also you can do that using for loop. So for that, what you do is, let me just copy this list. So what you do is, you simply write for loop, and here one variable in list, and print e over here. So what happens is, here I'm running a for loop, and in this for loop, what happens, it will start from the first element, it will pick 10, and this 10 will go to e, and you can do whatever you want to do with this first element. So here I wanted to print this first element. So what it will happen in the first iteration, 10 will be given to E and 10 will be printed. In the next iteration, 20 will be given to E and 20 will be printed. Similarly, 30, 40 up to 90. If I run it, you can see that I can do the same thing just by writing two lines of code. I don't have to worry about I don't have to worry about the condition, I don't have to worry about I plus 1. So I can simply write it like this. Now quickly tell me, if I don't want it vertically, I want it horizontally, what should I do? I have already told you this in the last session how we can do that. So what you have to do, instead of printing it vertically, I want it horizontally separated by spaces. So for that, what you can do is you can simply write comma and here you can specify space. And if I run it, you will see that it is printing you horizontally instead of vertically. Now let's just quickly write a program that will add the list element. So if I have list like this, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. What I want the total of these elements, right? So what I will do is I will create one variable total equals to 0. I will write for E in LST. You can write anything. It's not just you have to write E, you can write any variable name over here. And I will write total equals to total plus X over here and simply print if your total is, and this time you will see that what it did, it quickly added all the elements and printed it. You don't have to do any I, or you don't have to worry about length function. You can just quickly add it and you can print, right? So this is how you do it. Now let's say I have a list equals to 10, 20, 50 or 60, and I am writing something like this: print lst multiplied by, let's say, 3. Now if you run an expression like this, the output will be like this. So what it did, it basically repeated your list, repetition of elements. So here you can see that because we have we have multiplied it by 3. What will happen, because you cannot multiply a list, so if you write something like that, what will happen, it will repeat these numbers. So you can see here I have these 10, 20, 60, and again it repeated it 10, 20, 60, and then again there is a repetition 10, 20, 60. But it is not like it will create three lists, it is just one list. Only difference is that it repeated the elements. So here you can see that I have just one square bracket. Do not confuse that it will create three lists. It will just have one list but repetition of elements. What about this? If I have Saurabh in the name and if I write name asterisk 3, if you do this, you will see that it repeated the name like this. And what if I have something like this? Now this time I have name as a list and that contains Saurabh, and this time what I did is I multiplied it by 3. So this time here you will see that it is just add repeating the name, and here it is repeating the elements. So you can clearly see the difference. It is just one element, here it is a list. Okay, so I think that is it for today. There is so many things are there in the list, like insert, remove, or more about slicing or copying, cloning. We have a lot of things. So that I will cover tomorrow. So for today we will just stop over here, and sorry for the interruption that happened in between. Now I am open for questions. Let's just quickly take few questions. Yes, please. You can ask for questions if you have any questions. Not understood that program. Okay. So if you look over here, let me just quickly copy this. Here you can see that I have got this list. This is my list, and I have this variable total. Okay. So I have total. I will create it as a block, and the value, if you see, initially it has 0. Okay. And now you will see over here I am running a loop. Okay. In the loop, this x will have, in the first iteration, because it's a loop, it has iterations. In the first iteration, x will have value of 10. So first x will have 10, and in the next line inside this I am adding total plus x. So what I am doing, total plus x, which is 0 plus 10, and I am storing this value in the total. So now my total will have 10. So now my total will have 10 over here. Okay. Now again this will go to the second iteration. In the second iteration, x will have 20. Okay. And inside that, what I am doing, total plus x. So now my total is 10. So 10 plus 20, this will give you 30, and 30 again I am storing in the total. So this time, instead of 10, now I have 30. Now in the next iteration, x will have 30. So 30 plus, sorry, this time I will have 30 plus 30, which is coming out to be 60. So now my total will become 60, and this time, next time, x will be 40. So this will be 60 plus 40, which is 100. Now my total becomes 100. In the next iteration, it will be 50. So 100 plus 50, which is 150, and now x will be 60. So 150 plus 60, which comes out to be 210. So this time it is 210, and now my x will be 70. So 210 plus 70, which is 280. So this time it is 280. Now again x will be 80. So 280 plus 80, this comes out to be 360. So now next time it is 90. So 360 plus 90, which comes out to be 450. And I do not have 100 over here, or I do not have any other element. So the output will be 450. Now how I am saying, because the last value of a total is 450, and I am printing your total is total, which is 450. So that is why it is printing 450. I hope it clears your doubt. Okay. Hmm. Shubham, are you able to understand this? Okay. How can I access this Jupyter notebook? Every time, whenever I share this Jupyter notebook in the YouTube description box, so you will get this Jupyter notebook today itself in 1 or 2 hours. Can we get the link of a notebook? Yes, you will get it. Can you please tell me the split function? Okay. Split function. Let's see here. Let's say I have name, or I have welcome string, and it says hello, welcome to Azure Lab, and I want to split this string. And how can I split it? On the basis of these spaces. I want the words from these spaces, from this sentence, or from this welcome string. How can I do this? So what I will do is I will write welcome dot split, and here you have to specify the parameter on which you want to do the splitting. So I want to split it on the basis of these spaces. So here you can see that I have 3 spaces. So it will be broken down into hello, then welcome, then to, then Azure Lib. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a space over here. and the output of this will be stored in a list like this. And I am going to print this list. You will see that I have got all the words. So I have got hello, I have got welcome, I have got to, I have got achur. And how it is split it? Because here if you see, I have specified space in the split function. Okay, use of packed list as such, just packed lists are not used as such, but just for the knowledge purpose or the concept purpose, you should know it. Shiba Khan saying string is immutable. We will come to it when we will talk about string. String is a big topic in which I am going to cover a lot of functions, lot of variations of the string. So there we will talk about it. When we change an element of a list, did ID got changed? No, it is not going to change. As I said, lists are mutable. That means if you do any updation, address will not change. Sir, can you explain the evaluate function? Okay, so what it does basically, in this case, if you look over here, okay, I'll quickly tell you. So what I want is, I want my user to enter list just like a list in the input itself. So enter your list. So you can see that I want to give 10, 20, 30. Just the whole list I want to give as an input. Right, if you just use input function, this will be treated as in string, because you all know that input function will return you a string. Now from that string I have to convert this into a list. For that we can use eval function. So that's the use of the eval over here. uh, how to use difference between mutable and immutable, just wait for a couple of sessions, Gaurav, you will understand it, because this is very frequently asked in interviews of a fresher or 1 or 2 years of experience. I will talk about it in detail. How to use for in list reference. Anita, I didn't get your question. How to use for in list referencing the index? Sorry, in previous session we didn't get the quiz and notebook link. I will share it today itself. If asterisk is used for repetition in the list, that if we want to do multiply, then we should do that using for loop only. Yes. If we make a list of random values, will the output of this will be in sorted order? No, it will not be in sorted order. We will talk about sorting in a list in tomorrow's session. Second index in list slicing is similar to stop parameter of the range function, right? Yes, it's like a stop parameter or the end position. How to remove comma from the last index? So if you go to the last YouTube video, there somebody has mentioned the answer for that. So Saurabh Sekhar, you can go go and check in the last to last session. Can you explain slicing function once again? Can you explain slicing 2 colon 5 minus 2? Okay. Let me show you. So Santosh is asking about the slicing 2 colon this. So let's say I have a list like this: 10, 1, 2, instead of 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay. And what he wants is list 2 colon 5 colon minus 2. I think that's what he wants. 2 colon 5 colon minus 2. First, let's see the simplest one, because okay, now here you will see that it is printing 30 and 50. Why 30 and 50? So if you see over here in the list, in the subscript, we specify the index position. So if I copy this, I'll copy both the statements. So now here you will see that I have 0, I have 1, I have 2, I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this is the index position. Now here what I am doing, this is the start position and this is the end position, but we do not include the end number. Here we include the start position, but we do not include 5. We will include 5 minus 1, which is 4. And this is called step. So here you will see that the start position is 2. So what we have at 2, if you look over here, this is my 2. And after that, instead of going for a 3, we have to do the plus 2. So 0 plus 2, 0 plus 2, which is 2 only. Sorry, 2 plus 2, which is 4. So starting from this 2, we have to add this. Okay, so I did some mistake over here. I will write it as starting position. This is my start. Why? Because here I have mentioned 2. And after this 2, I have to add the step. So what is step? 2 is my step. So 2 plus 2, if you look over here, this will be my next position here. So this is 4. So now I will consider the index, which is 4. Next, after that, again we have to step with 2. So 4 plus 2, 4 plus 2, I will reach to this. But I cannot consider this because 6, if you look over here, my end position is 5 only. So I have to go up to 4, this only, right? So it is going to cover two indexes, 2 and 4. So this will print you basically 30 and 50 values, these two values, right? So the point to remember over here is that you have to, if you have to include the start position, and for the end position you cannot include the end position, you have to include the minus 1 of it, right? So minus 1 is 4 only here. So that is why it is printing 30, 50. Now the next thing is that what if I change it to minus 2? Now see what happens. You will see that it is not printing anything. Why? Because here what will happen, if you look over here, what we have specified, we have specified the negative index position. We want to move towards forward position. We want to, so if you look over here, I am increasing it, right? I want to move in the forward direction, but what you did is you have specified the negative number in the step function. You wanted to move towards the backward position. This will not possible. It will give you an empty list. Okay, so this is about this negative index. Okay, so day 4 logic start and minus 1 in slicing could not catch up. Can't we use list in place of eval? No. Why? Because if you look, Nayan, if you look in the string, we are giving the square brackets also, so you cannot typecast it directly. How to get 4 5 6 4 5 6? You are okay, 4 5 6 from this list. Okay, so first you have to split it. So what he's asking, how can I get the 4 5 6 from this? So let me copy. I cannot copy this comment. 1 2 3 2. So he has something like this, and what he want to access 4 5 6. So the thing that you have to do, you have to split it on the basis of white space. Now if I print lst, you will see that I will get a list. And now if you want to access 4 5 6, what you have to do, you have to use index 1. So this time it is going to print 4 5 6. So first we split this into a list, and from the list I can access it using the index position. So you want to access 4, 5, 6, you can just specify one over here. Okay, so that's it from my side for today. Okay, Harish, can you explain slicing 2 colon 5 colon minus 2? Okay. Okay, so let's try to understand this. So tell me what all. So if you look over here, it has a starting position of 2 and end position of 5. Okay, so what are the valid, or what is the range of a valid indexes over here? So the valid indexes is 2, 3, 4. Okay, but if you look over here, what we are doing, we are doing minus 2. So minus 2 means it is basically we want to move forward, we want to move 2, 3, 4, but we, what we are trying to do, we are trying to do backward position over here, right? But these are not valid indexes. That is why this is going to give you empty list, right? Because my list is restricted between these 2 to 5, and using step function negative, we want to move outside of this range, outside of this 2 to 5. So this is not possible. It will give you the empty list, not an error. Is it clear? uh, Harish, is it clear? Harish, print list 3.0 was not answered. So if you look into this, the list cannot have floating values, it cannot have decimal values, so this will generate an error. Harish, are you able to understand this? 2 colon 5 minus 2. Will it not give second position? No, it will not give you the second position. Okay, so that's it from my side for today. Let's connect tomorrow, and we will talk more about these lists in detail. We have got a lot of other stuff in the detail. So how was the today's session? How was the today's session? Were you able to understand new things, or the session was helpful? Thank you, Weber. What about others? Whether they like the session? We'll remove this. Thank